Oh, great.
Gentlemen, I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, his greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle, victorious. We sacrificed too much to not think we're doing it! Super Bowl! What we dreamed of, baby! We got a shot to be world champ! Gentlemen, that moment is waiting on you. It's waiting on every man in the Steelers locker room. It's waiting on every man in the Packers locker room. What separates a Super Bowl from all the other games is that a Super Bowl is always remembered. It's not just another 60 minutes of football. It's 60 minutes that can define you forever as a winner. Ain't no tomorrow, man. Today is our day. You know, people ask, is winning really the only thing? Well, my answer to them is my answer to you. Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you? Is it what you want? Do you want to be remembered as a winner? Or is something else? Let's go all the ball. That's what we play for. Right now. Playing in the Super Bowl is about playing in a game that will define you forever. Make this game your finest hour.
Well, that says it all. Because you kind of hear Stocks, Alex, me say it every week, but if you don't want to win, if winning doesn't matter to you, then Manny's been like, oh, talk about the playoffs. How about we stop talking about the playoffs and people that are going to make the playoffs just play their games and try to win, go to the playoffs. Talking can only do so much, what I'm saying? Like, everyone's like, well, the playoff race is so tight. It's like, yeah, we can talk about it, but it's up to the players to, play the games. That says it all to me. We haven't done a show in a while. We kind of felt bad. We don't really know what we're going to do, to be honest. So we're just going to...
Yeah, we're going back to the old style.
We're just going back to the old style. It's Halloween, so trick or treat. You're going to get a little bit of both. And we're just going to have some fun. I mean, just reach your hand in the cookie jar and see if you pull a treat or a trick. So, in the spirit of trick or treat, though, Alex, what's been the team that's kind of been the trick that you thought might be good, that kind of tricked you and was either bad or was either good, and what's been kind of the treat of the league that you didn't expect? What was kind of the thing where you're like, wow, I kind of like this?
That's a tough one.
It doesn't got to be a person. It can just be. Do you like writing the game reports? Personally, I don't ever write game reports, but that's because I do the show. So I'm like, well, this is my game report.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think probably the treat is how tight some of the divisions are at this stage in the season.
Yeah.
With, say, some of the teams, for example, AFC South, anyone can still win it in theory, and similar with AFC West and stuff like that. So technically, any team is still in the playoffs.
We're in the wrong division. What he's telling us.
But then I suppose the trick is kind of, I didn't expect any team really at this stage to be undefeated, and if any team, I personally didn't expect the Giants to be undefeated.
Yeah.
I don't know about you two, but at the beginning of the season, you wouldn't have thought the Giants would be undefeated personally. So, well, I wouldn't have. So, I don't know about any of you, but what about you two?
I personally have as kind of same view as you do, Alex. I love the parity in this league right now. You got so many people going up for the playoffs, and so many people, one win makes your whole season. You came from nowhere, and now man, you're making it happen, and it's all in the same season. How many times did you write your season off? So that's a treat to me. Is every time you want to count somebody out, they come right back. And the trick, I think Stocks is gonna agree with me here on the trick. The trick has to be Manny, man. I thought Manny would be good. I thought he'd be not only a playoff team, but I thought he'd be challenging for a Super Bowl, and he really hasn't. He's
and on the Manny aspect, we all kind of shook our heads in the beginning of the year with
Yeah.
that huge trade he made, and
That was the trick in the beginning of the year.
yeah,
Right there it
and
was.
it's not paying off for him. It's
No.
really not. He's just not doing what he was doing in 11 with his team. I don't know what it was he had with the Packers, last year in 11, but whatever he's doing this year, it's just not paying off, and the trade is basically haunting him, right?
I will say this though, he's got a lot better since when you played him. I
Yep.
think he beat me. He beat me like 17-30. It's a lot
Yep.
better than when you beat him. What 52? What was good in that first week? It was something ridiculous.
It's 48-10.
Yeah. So he's. I mean, I'm not the same caliber player you are, but he's definitely made some strides. But he's got to be the trick to me because I really thought he'd be not only a playoff team. I thought he'd be in the top 5.
Yeah, I would definitely say he would be the favorite to win that division. The Bears'
Yep.
4-6 defense is definitely,
Yeah.
has been a factor. I mean, that team has definitely been a factor this year.
The Bears definitely as a surprise team, and maybe that's because we're not very knowledgeable when it comes to the Bears because he's the new guy and we didn't know what to expect. But just looking at his team and what he's done with them, I know Alex of the real Bears fans got to be proud of the virtual Bears, if you will, because they're playing pretty well.
Well, he's made a lot of trades and acquisitions before the trade deadline, which is only helped this team get better in the run game and in the pass rush. Well, kind of equal pass rush.
Right.
Peppers for Allen is a wash, but it definitely helps his other players,
Right. Would you have done that, Alex? Would you have made that trade?
I don't know. I really like Peppers, but I think I can understand the move. The fact that Allen's a bit younger, and I suppose it depends on the style of play that you like from your defensive end.
And he also got other players too, so we got to know that.
Because Peppers is a more powerful kind of defensive end than Allen, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Slightly. So Peppers with his bull rush, and so
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose it depends on your style, and if you want Julius Peppers that much, and if you're willing to pay, why not? So
Yeah.
I think it was more kind of a deal he can't refuse, with Allen being a very good defensive end as well, and then other players as well. And the fact that Allen's kind of a bit younger as well kind of gives him a bit more longevity before declining. And
Well, me and Stocks, we always feel bad because we're not in the AFC. We don't always talk about the AFC. That's why we love having Alex here so we can talk about the AFC. And what better time to talk about him because, the damn division is wide open. Every division in the AFC is pretty much wide open. So it's pretty fun to talk about. I know you're a little bit biased in your own division, but man, that division, bad or good or indifferent, it's wide open. Who do you think?
I think all 4 teams are looking it over, come almost equal. You had the Houston Texans shuffle their team, go wide receiver heavy.
Yep.
Then you had the Colts go kind of just as is.
Yep.
And your Titans kind of had as is, and then you had Alex go with.
Alex tried filling needs. Alex went for more needs.
He's trying to fill some holes. He boosted some wide receiver help. And so you have 2 teams that went one way, and you have 2 teams that stayed, and that kind of made it all shuffle now, and it's going to be interesting to watch it.
But which philosophy pays off? That's what we gotta wait and see. Because we can talk until we're blue in the face. We just don't know. What is the Texans a dangerous team because he got Terrell Owens and Husmanzada, and all these guys, or is a guy like Alex who just filled knees, and the Tennessee Titans, and the Colts. I mean, Tennessee made a lot of moves too, though. So you got 2 teams in the division, like you said, making a lot of moves. You got 2 teams kind of standing themselves, like the Colts and the Jaguars. So we're gonna see.
You kind of got to think about who the divisional matchups as well. Because I've beaten the Texans twice, so if it comes to us being level on at the top of the division come the playoffs, I'd get into the playoffs and he wouldn't. So it's going to be a very interesting situation to see how it turns out in the next couple of weeks with The last 2 weeks are both divisional weeks, so
And
so that's going to be very key. And I think the 3 games beforehand, leading up, kind of could knock out 1 or 2 of the teams from the playoff race in our division. So, for example, if I win my next 2 games, come the final 2 games, I think if I get 1 win against the Titans, maybe I could potentially secure my place in the playoffs. But I don't think it's going to be quite that easy. So we'll see. Well, especially with me with being a loss down. But if the Titans win their next 2 games and then beat me, I think they've pretty much secured their place in the playoffs. But hopefully that won't happen. Shouldn't do.
well,
We'll
it's-
see. It happened week 1, so
Well, we got about 5 minutes left, and let's rapid fire this division. You got the Tennessee Titans who lost in a shootout. I mean, absolutely Western style. John Wayne, pull out your pistol and just shoot. That's what type of game it was, 35-45. And then you got Alex, who plays a hell of defense this week, man. He shut out the Chargers. And, he's a little modest. He says, well, the Chargers did some things right. I'm sure he did. But, Alex, your defense played amazing.
Dude, if you can put up a goose egg anytime in this league, you're doing something right, and you're
Yeah.
making that owner frustrated and getting off his game plan.
Yep. I mean, I know the Chargers. He's a good guy. He's been with us since, the foundation of Gridiron has been laid. Rome hasn't fallen in one day, and he was here when we built it. So he's a good player, and you shut him out. So I'm allowing you to toot your own horn, if you will, for a minute. Just a minute, though. Don't get carried away.
I also had a fairly big win against the Texans the
Yeah.
week before, which is big in more than one way.
And the Titans, was in the top of the division. So here you are with your Jacksonville Jaguars. They're nipping at the heels of the Tennessee Titans. And
Yeah.
the Colts are still. I mean, there's people who are still in it. The Colts are still in it. The Texans, he's gonna need some luck now. But it's one of the division that's wide open. Also, the Steelers got a big win, and the Bengals to keep his playoff hopes alive in the division. I think he's got the division lead still, so that was a big game for him because on
he's
those
got a 1-game lead at the moment. So
aren't those 2 teams the 2 best teams in the division? And
they're two best teams in the division. And
Uh,
yeah,
I don't know if you saw it, Stocks. We can talk about it when we come back because I think we only have about a few minutes here. But the Steelers got beat by the Bengals a few weeks back, and then the Steelers come back and gets a 4-point win over the Bengals. So that one's shaping up to be interesting too.
Yeah, that makes things cover up a wash there.
Yep, that shows you how even they are though. One can beat. I think the first game might have been within like 10 points or even a touchdown. I don't remember, but this game was only within 4. So they obviously, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely a dogfight with those two.
So we'll be right back after this. We'll break down some more teams. We'll run through some more playoff hopes, and maybe we'll finally get out of here. No trick-or-treaters at my door. I'm a lucky guy. So peace out. Okay, we're back, fellas, and Stocks, your own division's pretty tough in itself, man. You were heading off there. You were right up there with the Giants, and we were talking about power rankings. I ranked you number 1, and you slid a little bit, but you're still right there on top of the division. But the Panthers are not too far behind you, and the Bucks, they keep playing well. So, what's kind of the feel around your division?
Yeah, in the NFC South, I think all 4 teams are kind of finding their identity.
Yeah.
I can speak of myself. I've just been struggling. I understand that. But as far as the other 3 teams, I think the running game has definitely come into play, and that's Tampa Bay and the Falcons can really control the ball with their 2 running backs. LeGarrette Blount and
Turner.
Yeah, Michael Turner. So, those 2 teams are good, and they're good on the defensive side of the ball, and they're gonna make you earn the W, or they're gonna really take it to you. So, yeah, no, the all around, that division is solid. And I've been always chanting the Panthers are the next coming team, So he's on my tails, and if I let down, he's gonna take it. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, well, I gave you a win this week, and let's talk about that. Not just because it was us, but we were playing the game, so these people don't know. But I had a very interesting dilemma because Matthew Stafford. There's no secret. You can look at the stats. He has not played well. He has not played well at all, and against the Saints, to be honest, I thought his career was over. He threw 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions, and it wasn't my fault. I tried lobbing passes, just tapping the box button. I tried pressing the box button. Whatever it was, the ball just wasn't going where it needed to go.
Yeah, the big thing in the game though, Logan, is we go back. We played 2 games a season. We've probably played each other.
Probably about 15.
Yeah, I was gonna say about 15 times.
Yeah,
within
15
2 years.
franchise games and probably 10 more other games. So
Yeah,
we know
I
each
think-
other well.
Yeah, I know your tendencies. You know my tendencies. We know each other's styles. We know we're gonna attack. It's kind of like a chess match. So I think maybe I checkmate you on this one, but that was about it. I don't know if you should look much into it. Yeah, Stafford looked horrible. But I don't know if you would make a drastic change just because of this one game. Don't get me wrong, Drew Stanton did come in and he played very well. He made a lot more better throws than Stafford did.
And that's what I want to talk to you about because people don't realize the type of throws he made. He made spot on throws. I mean,
Yes, he did.
he's only a 68. Yeah, I get that. But you're looking at the shell. I'm looking at the inside of the shell. I cracked it open. He made perfect throws. He looked like Matthew Stafford, and Matthew Stafford looked like Drew Stanton in that game.
Yes.
So
Yep.
not only our game, but say a team is out of the playoffs, because Manny's always like, "Well, talk about the teams that are out of the playoffs to keep their hopes up." Do you make a change if you have a younger kid? Do you see what he's got, like a Drew Stanton maybe, or somebody else, like the Broncos? Do the Broncos take out Kyle Orton and put in Tim Tebow to see if he wants to keep him? To see if he because Kyle Orton's a free agent. Do you make that kind of move? Do you?
Yeah, right now I would definitely, now's the time to tinker with your backups, see what you got for next year. If you know you don't have a chance, you can work on different playbooks, different defenses, different styles, and you're just looking to, basically build for next year and see what pieces you're gonna move and pieces that you're gonna want to add.
Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. Stuff like that. There you go. So yeah, I would do that. Yeah.
So what's your philosophy, Alex? Say you're a team like I am, won a few games, but has lost definitely more than he's won. Not saying in my situation, I'm just saying my team in general. Not saying my roster. Do you take like Broncos owner? Do you take Kyle Orton now, who's going to be a free agent next year, and put in a younger Tim Tebow or put in a younger option? I don't know the Patriots record right offhand, but say he was out of the division. Do you take out Tom?
5-6.
Yeah.
So he's 4 wins off the division. And I think he put in last game. I think he put in
Ryan Mallett.
Ryan Mallett towards the end for a bit.
So do you put Ryan Mallett in to show off to the league, because it's obvious that not everyone can watch the games. We don't have that kind of technology. So people look at stats a lot. So if you got a younger kid in there, not only for the future for your team, but you put a Ryan Mallett out there to say he threw for 265 yards and 1 touchdown. Here's what he can do. Are you kind of auditioning for other teams and your team at the same time, or do you stick with what got you there and stick with the original starter?
Well, I think it depends on the situation. But for example,
I'm saying a losing
I'd
team
be
that.
tempted to say if I had a few younger offensive linemen
Yeah.
or something like that, kind of, who are not quite as good or anything like that, but you think may develop nicely, kind of like just put them in, see how they do, and just things like that. But I'm not sure about, say, maybe such a key position as a quarterback. For example, if I was completely out of the playoff picture, I've got Terrence Tolliver.
We're talking about completely
a
out of the
57
playoffs.
overall.
We're talking completely out of the playoffs here, because there's some teams that we're going to talk about playoff pitchers. We do all that, but there's some teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, like me, or like someone else, or
Yeah, but say if I was completely out of the playoffs, I have like Terrence Tolliver, Cecil Shorts, both rookies who aren't great, basically, but they've got some kind of alright stats. They've got some decent, very good stats in certain areas. Which is kind of like route running and stuff like that. So kind of putting them in would kind of, I think, would that probably help develop their route running, something like that, kind of just, or even just see if it does, just kind of give them a chance, because Terrence Tolliver's got great jump, great like spectacular catch and stuff like that, but he can't run routes he can't run routes pretty much. So I'd be tempted to put him in and just see how he does and things like that, even if it's just for a part of one game, just to kind of get a bit more rotation and see, because chances are playtime and how they play is going to affect progression, whether you like it or not. Even then, you're kind of like saying, you're kind of seeing what you've got, and kind of if you want to kind of get rid of some people. Say, for example, if you bring in a younger offensive lineman who plays really well, you can get rid of the guy who's starting and get some maybe decent for him. So
yeah. Let me just say this: I'm not trading Matthew Stafford for the future. Matthew Stafford is my quarterback for the future. But maybe it's my mentality, but Stocks knows this. I'm not a guy that likes to lose. So if Drew Stanton can win me a game or two this season, and Stafford, he's the dynamic player or whatever it is messing him up, he's going on the bench. And
I totally agree with you in that aspect. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Stafford is his accuracy's got to go up. If his accuracy goes up, believe it or not, he's the starter. He's the golden boy. I'm putting the trophy on his shoulders, whatever. But right now, his accuracy is not where I need it to be, or my confidence is lost in him for this season. Maybe it's just me, but I'm the one controlling this team, so it's up to me. And my confidence right now in Matthew Stafford is not very high. But everyone's like, "Oh, Drew Stanton, are you sure?" But he played well. He only played a quarter, and he scared you for a minute, though, Stocks, didn't he?
He put to a couple of throws to Calvin Johnson in triple coverage at one point, and obviously it's a Calvin Johnson effect, but you have to put the throw in the right spot for him to be able to make this catch, because there was three guys around him, and somehow Calvin Johnson came away with it.
And
that definitely would throw a flag up, going, wow, all right, I don't think Stafford has done that all year. Why is he doing this?
Well, Stafford, you know this from my game. He either throws hard, he either throws really hard, or he lofts it up too much. There's not I haven't found the balance between can he put the ball on the money but go deep enough, because either he throws it way out of bounds. Oh man, I'm blowing up again.
Every time.
But I know. I told you I'm the Adam Scheffler of this league. No doubt about it. See, modern technology, the kids are probably calling me to bring out their candy to the cars because it's too cold for them to actually walk around. That's probably what it is. I tell you what, kids nowadays, they're not strong like I used to be. But that's another story for another day. But the issue... Okay, Stocks, I'll give you a scenario. You're in my situation, okay? You're a losing team, not going to make the playoffs. Obviously, that's not how it is right now. Drew Brees is a free agent next year, right?
Yes.
I don't know what he's being offered. You don't have to tell us what he wants. But let's say he wants $10 million. Sounds fair, right, Alex?
Yeah.
10 million, 11 million, whatever the number is. He wants that money. And Stocks is like, I don't know if I want to trade him. I don't know. Maybe I'll trade him and get something for him and play a younger player. No.
Chase Daniels.
Now, he doesn't really have the option to play a good backup. I mean, Chase Daniels. But if you had a Tim Tebow
Trade for Curtis Bates.
or a Ryan Mallett or a Terrell
No,
Pryor.
I want Josh Johnson if I was going to go that way.
Okay, if you had Josh Johnson on your roster, would you put him in for just, would you try to move like a guy like Drew Brees, or at least bench him for the year? Because now let's not forget, fellas, there is such a thing as career-ending injuries. That hasn't gone away as far as I know. Now, I called the Peyton Manning injury on one podcast. I don't want to jinx anyone here. All I'm saying is sometimes you got to see what you got in the young kids. And we went pretty long on this, but I want to give the non-playoff teams like myself a podcast too. It can't all be about the playoffs and you playoff teams. So that's that. But Matthew Stafford, dirty diapers, man. I'll tell you that. 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I think I would go right back to Stafford next game just to see if it wasn't the Logan Stocks factor. And
maybe it's just the Logan factor altogether. Maybe I'm not Matthew Stafford material. All I know is with this stat, I look pretty damn good. To be honest, I don't care if my opponent knows what am I? Hell, I'm 2-20, 2-15. I don't know what I am. It doesn't really matter at this point. So I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna run a 2-quarterback system that game.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't have anything to lose, man. I'm not going to the playoffs. It's an open competition, as some of the old coaches used to say. I think it was Deca when he was with the Saints. When he tried coming back and all that, and his team wasn't in the playoffs anymore. He was getting pissed. He says, "Yeah, it's an open competition." They said, "You're in the season." He says, "Yeah, I don't care. It's like the preseason. Everyone's got to earn their spots. You haven't played good enough." He goes, "My team is, oh my God, they're horrible. Have you seen them? You saw them every week. Do they look like starters to you?" And he walked off. And the next week, he started a bunch of bench players, and they played halfway decent. Or you go back to Singletary. If you can't win with them, can't coach them.
Doesn't matter which one run. There'll be a quarterback that'll be named next week that'll be the starter. There's 3 quarterbacks in this football team. Whichever one starts. Whichever ones don't, we'll back them up. Period. Cut and dry. It's nobody's concern but ours.
Yep.
Nobody.
That was the same season.
Talk to the trainer. Next.
I think that was I think that was the press conference I'm talking about.
If you were 2-7, you'd be in a bad mood too.
Yep.
But next.
Yep.
Yes.
Next. We're coming back next after this. Stay with us, fellas.